Welcome. These will be my thoughts on Arrow Season 2, Episode 7, State v. Queen. The episode is rated TV-14, so this video there will be spoilers for the episode and the show leading up to it. Another episode I absolutely loved. I guess let's start with the ending. Very surprised that that Malcolm is back, but then if like so he was trained by let's see, was it Raish Al Ghul or was it that guy who works Al. It was one of the pretending to be dead and then coming back. That's you know um so I think that does I thought there were several things here that I quite appreciated. The way that we are moving ever closer to Laurel. Like, she's really struggling. She outright states, I don't know how anyone could ever forgive me for that. And I suppose it's possible that Thea punching Roy, that might, it's possible that that's not going to be the last time she punches someone. And I think that does pretty well cover the overarching stuff. So, I really can't put into words how much I love the Count. I am gonna miss him. That is, but then it's powerful to have Oliver. He said he wasn't gonna kill again, and not only did he, it didn't take very long. This is episode 7. If there's like a week between each, it lasted for less than 2 months. He was killing for more months than he took a break from it. And I don't know if that's going to mean that he really isn't going to be able to not kill, but it's certainly, I could see it might mean that he can't feel, at least at first, like he could stop killing. And that is, of course, thankfully in real life, most of us don't kill. But when you do something that you feel you shouldn't, it could be, it could feel like it starts to define you. And, if you try to stop and then you really struggle to stay stopped, that can really mess with your perception of yourself. So I feel like that's probably what they're going to do there, and I'm here for it. Yeah. So the opening, where the night of the undertaking, and the way the guards are just like, well, we're supposed to just leave the inmates in, mate. And I thought they did a really great job on, obviously with the money they have for, an episode of a TV show, it's limited what they can do as far as, simulate an earthquake. I thought they did a really great job. The toilet gets messed up, so there's some water there, and the way that, it feels like stuff is shaking, and the sound work and acting help further sell the illusion. And oh wow, The Count, in this episode at least, is so back. Just like sauntering out of his, no longer um, solid cell, and just going past and noting why he doesn't free the various people he does. One of them's too ambitious, and yeah, he frees the doll maker, and we even have him step out through an arrowhead opening in the wall. And yeah, just I really, really appreciate the performance of each time. I guess it's only three, but each of these times he just does such a great job. Now, I think that might just about get us to the let's see. Yeah, so Dig, you know, we have the actually I think the very next thing was some of the trial. I also thought they did a really solid job on that. It's the kind of thing where we really want to see, and I was to see the trial. I was really surprised that the what's the word that she was found not guilty. Both of the counts, I expected a guilty verdict, as did various characters on the show. And yeah, Oliver sends Dig home, and we have let's see, I guess I'll just briefly, yeah, so okay, the flashback stuff was also great. The various we have them. Yeah, Oliver guides them to the plane, and he does yell out the to hide, and he gets knocked down, and the plane gets shot up. And it's one of those things where I can imagine as soon as Oliver stopped responding on the other side of the radio, they figured that might mean, because like there's only so many options. They know there's a decent chance he ended up on that boat. If he radios, just very briefly and then not more, yeah, he's a captive and they should hide. That makes a lot of sense. And let's see. I love the thing about the bomb. So yeah, there's the thing about like, did you find the detonator? We're lucky. American television and movies and such being really in love with that thing of a countdown being stopped, very little time left. And I think the what does that? Oh, I'm. It's very cool the way that I feel like they might be building towards something with Slade's. Half his face is covered in the the burn ointment thing. It's very reminiscent of the mask from yeah. And then we have let's see, what's the other thing with the right, and I thought it worked well. Later she does turn the detonator back on, And I think that does cover the yeah, right. This episode also had some really great stunt work, such as when Oliver is thrown and we see him land. Like, that's one of those stunts. It's not impossible to do, including completely safely and such. It has a very strong impact. It looks so painful. And the explosion sends one guy flying, and the let's see, yeah, yeah. So they go to the cave, and Ivo wonders, where's the Hosen, and yeah, very clever that so they're ready to free Oliver, and that thing about one of them tries to shoot, and Slade is just so freaking fast. And yeah, Oliver, right, I like Oliver like hitting one of them, and yeah, he gets Sarah, and they run off, and yeah, she's like, why did you do that? And Oliver points out, you saved me, you know. So yeah, there is a complicated relationship there. And yeah, Sarah points out, there's something on the Hosen, and yeah, Shadow kept it because it reminds her of her father. Makes perfect sense. And yeah, she reads out the numbers somewhere. Hurley is going like, don't input the numbers. And yeah, coordinates. So now they know where it is. And Ivo and the others are looking for yeah, it's again, they're doing such a great job on the show of just like inching closer to the big, you know yeah. um I think that covers all the flashbacks. So yeah, back at the present day, right, that was, now I remember, that was also a great stunt when Dig falls over. Like, that looked, holy crap. And yeah, I mean, they found a way to make that not be as painful as it looked. I quite appreciated Felicity. So, there's the thing, I told Felicity not to call you. Yes, but before that you said thump, and thump, so I didn't take it very seriously. And the running gag in this episode, early on, she's like, I'm offended you even have to ask that. And then later, sometimes I wonder what it would take to impress you two. And let's see. I guess that does bring us to, yeah, it was very clever. At first we don't even know what it is with Dig, and then oh, Vertigo, he's a yeah, drug uh kingpin, I guess, trying to create a lot of new customers. And the let's see, um I guess that does pretty well. Yeah. Then once they realize, then Oliver gives says, give Dig the antidote, which he made for last time. And unfortunately, the Count changed the formula. He went back to formula. And he had time. It's been months since he escaped from prison, so very nicely done on that. Because he knows that they, because last time he got Oliver, well, first time he got Oliver on some, and then Oliver came back. So clearly, you know, a an antidote has been developed, and only by the end of this episode do they make a new non-addictive antidote. For the version that the new version he cooked up, and yeah, that is, and the thing about is that really addiction from just one? Is that really possible? Yeah, try heroin. I mean, not try. And yeah, I let's see, what was the other thing that was yeah, the way that gradually, it we spend the episode worried both about Vertigo and about Moira, and the way that Oliver has to make a choice, and he chooses to stop Vertigo, and yeah, Thea, like, she doesn't seem like that angry with him by the end of this episode, but then that's also where she can tell, hey, are you okay? And we know he's not, because he just killed again. And I mean, at least he said it was business rather than evening plans. Right. The Blu-ray has a deleted scene. It's basically the let's see. Oh, right. Did I even mention that there was? I forget if I mentioned in my video on the 6th episode, there was one for that, and it's just Moira face to face with Thea, where the Moira learns that Thea and Roy are no longer together, and that's we don't need to see that, so very much cut for time. But yeah, the one in this one, yeah, I mean, for this particular episode, it doesn't really accomplish very much. Basically, Thea acknowledges, hey, it actually helped to hit Roy, and she has a great line about, like, I don't think it will work for you, Oliver. You're not really a fighter. More of a lover, I guess. And, he says, well, we all have two sides. We all have a hidden element to our lives. So, I mean, it's another example of, every so often he'll say something where it's like, okay, they might actually be able to deduce that he is, if they weren't so sure that he wasn't Arrow. And I think, let's see, where do we end up with that? We have the, let's see. I guess that does get us to the, oh, right, yeah, I don't have that much to say about the various trial stuff. I thought they did a really great job tying together the two subplots of the episode, with Donner, trying to make Moira seem like she only cared about her own, which is a very clever strategy. There's, yeah, and he collapses before, using the trump card, but yeah, or wait, I guess it was, no, right, sorry, he talks to Thea and gets, gets it out of her that it took 5 months for her own daughter to forgive her, and yet we're all expected to forgive Moira, so yeah. Yeah, when Laurel is the one, so yeah, she goes to talk to Moira and tries to talk her out of it, acknowledging she could be disbarred for this, and does end up, playing the trump card, and the yeah, yeah, it's they did such a great job there. Also, right, I appreciate that Thea is like, are you okay? You know, with with Donner, and yeah, um, you know, when Laurel was studying law, obviously part of it was this thing of, you know, if you like you, it is your responsibility to, you know, if you are arguing a case, you have to give it your all. And yeah, the thing about, you know, you were, you know, I was afraid of getting caught, and the let's see, I guess that does pretty much cover. Oh, right. The deleted scene also has Thea say, "I can't believe she slept with Malcolm Merlin of all people," which does, of course, work well for the, you know, because yeah, the revelation at the end, you know, DNA test reveals Malcolm is Thea's father. Like, holy crap. That is really gonna. I can hardly wait to see that play out. I can imagine she might not find out immediately, but like Malcolm, we know the way he can be with his kids. You know, yeah, he's not necessarily the most, yeah, like he'll do what he feels is the right way to make them strong. So I'm a little worried he's gonna, you know, yeah, what exactly he's thinking uh, when it comes to Thea. And Thea is already feeling like there's something wrong with her, and you know she's just a screw up. I kind of, yeah. Roy cleans up very nicely. The black suit when in court, and I think that does. Yeah, I will also say, you know, when Oliver, you know, approaches Laurel, and you know, she starts by saying, anything you're about to say to me, just know I already said it to myself first. You know, she really does hate that this, yeah, you know, she thought it was, that it would be the that other person from the office who was going to do it, you know, but well, the jury know you. And that again, it's one of those silly things, but there are, you know, in real life, you know, a lot of attention is paid to how, you know, the narrative is part of it to to settle to yeah, resolve a case. And I think that does pretty much get us to right the video, um you know, where the count has to command Donner, look at me. And very clever, the municipal records, the symbol in the yeah. And yeah, that was also it was really cool when you know, um count who even at one point says you can count on it. Wow, the count is counting. And yeah, the where he said, oh, I heard that you turned non-lethal. And then he stands up and just makes himself the easiest target to just provoke Allor. Just like so cool. He's such a wonderfully creepy, you know, yeah, love to hate kind of villain. I think that does pretty much. Let's see. I um yeah, it's also very clever, this thing of like, well, if they're trying to infect a large number of people, taking over, this flu shot thing is going to do. And yeah, when Felicity she decides to go check um, by herself, and let's see, yeah, um, that was also some of the most effective stuff of the episode, was seeing Felicity, like, the count makes her skin crawl. It's so, and the way that they push it just far enough that, like, the way that he'll touch her hair, and it's one of those things of like, I mean, he's not like going, you know I mean, they could have him go further, but it would also probably end up feeling gratuitous. And it is just like, yeah, it's just, you look at her face, her body language, like, she would do anything to get away from the Count. And yeah, I like the part where he deduced that Oliver and Arrow are one and the same. And I guess that does pretty much bring us to the yeah, the confrontation in the office. And you know he almost jabs her, and then Arrow, you know yeah, I mean, earlier the Count asked, did you miss me? I don't think Arrow's gonna. And I guess that was also very, very cool, seeing him go out the window like that. Just, yeah. Right. So, the episode for this one perhaps implied that maybe, you know, Felicity is developing feelings for Oliver. And then in this episode, he saves her life again. And, the little bit of hand holding, very nicely done on, again, like, it would feel really forced if just immediately Oliver was there, because he doesn't seem to think of her as that. He appreciates her help with arrowing, but it's not really, yeah. I mean, he's not even really looking for uh, a partner, right? A romantic partner, I mean, right now. But yeah, let's see. We have the um, hmm, I guess that pretty much. Okay, I feel like there's at least one more thing that I really wanted to. Right, I thought it worked well. The part where it's, yeah. So she's leaving the trial, not guilty verdict, and the journalist just straight up asks, "What's it like to get away with murder?" I mean, I will say, um, sometimes I wish that the real life American press would be more confrontational with politicians. So yeah, points for that. And the thing about, like, oh, taking the freeway would be quicker. I've actually been instructed not to take you home yet. You don't say. And that was also such a great reveal. So he gets, he stops the car. It's like, she's like, I don't even know where this is. And he opens the door, and he's like, "Sir, she's here." And the arrows hit, and it's like, what? Just, I genuinely, I mean, I guess in retrospect, I kind of should have figured, now that we know that he was trained by the League of Assassins. But yeah, um, just holy crap. Um, I guess that does pretty much. Oh, I appreciated the part about um, the authorities had kept quiet, that these various, both the doll maker and the count escaped. And yeah, it's one of those things, like, they didn't expect it to hurt rich people, only, poor people. So they just didn't do anything about it. That is sadly true for a lot of American law enforcement. If you look at the history, they started as protecting the rich. Like, that was the one thing they were supposed to do. And then after a while, it was realized, oh, hey, regular people are getting more of an influence on what happens. They don't love that we have this entire armed force who are just there to protect powerful people. We should rebrand as, oh, we're protecting everyone. If you aren't already watching the Propaganda series by, I want to say they're called Skip Intro, that YouTube channel, you are missing out. Just recently they did one on, I want to say, SVU, Law and Order SVU, I think it was. And yeah, as usual, it's excellent. Now, I think that does pretty much. Let's see. I feel like there's at least one more thing that I really gotta. Um, right. Really love the fact that so yeah, Quentin noted, oh hey, my daughter is actually really struggling. She's become addicted to work because she was using work to escape from the pain of losing Tommy and blaming herself, perhaps blaming Arrow, and now work is causing her pain too. This is a very critical moment for many addicts. Um, it's yeah, they thought they were escaping from it, and now that thing is causing the pain. It's what's the rock bottom adjacent. So yeah, uh, really looking forward to seeing more of that storyline unfold. I would not have guessed that they were going to do, like, she had it so together in most of the first season, but it is that makes it all the more compelling to watch. As yeah, I think that does. Yeah, appreciate it, Roy, talking to her about, so part of the reason that he would go out and do vigilantism was that he, felt like he was making the world a better place, making Starling City safer. But part of it was also that it, yeah, the emotional, it made him feel good to get out the frustration. And like, in real life, we don't have anywhere near as many vigilantes as there are in comic books. But sometimes when you look at people who did, you know go out and hurt someone, yeah, they'll say that, oh, but it was, yeah, it's clear that it is stuff like that. It's unresolved issues that they try to turn into, um, yeah. And it's one thing that there are some number of individuals. It's worse when who engage in that. It's worse when it starts to get organized, and it's especially distasteful when conservative media figures then start talking about, like, oh, this person's a hero, so you want this to happen. Like, you want more of this. Like, you're giving them literally exactly what they want. And maybe some of these media personalities don't realize that. It's hard for me to believe that all of them allegedly don't realize that that's what's going on there. Now, let's see. I appreciate the way that the scene of that plays out. That she doesn't immediately hit very hard. You know, we don't know exactly how long it goes on for, but he does train her, and she is, getting better. And that's also like, yeah, she struggled with, there were things where she felt powerful emotions and she couldn't really figure out what to do with them. In season 1, she did vertigo. She, drove under the influence, so it's, yeah, the seeds were there for this. And I think that does pretty much. Let's see. I also thought that it was very clever to have Dig be, one of the first, I guess the very first we see that's like very clearly affected by vertigo in this episode, where, that makes it feel closer to home, that it's not someone we don't know. And right, Brother Blood is back, and he says that he arranged for the so that's interesting. And the meeting between Arrow and Count, and there's that thing, and he's very frustrated that now yeah, it's not necessary for me to restate the exact, but yeah, then there's the name, there's been a development, and we see, a bunch more were given the shot. Very nicely, that good bit of visual storytelling. We don't need someone to say, well, we kept giving the shot, just like you said. No, we just see, like, there's, I don't know, 6-7 people sitting there, and it seems like only one of them survived. So they did indeed keep doing, and yeah, eventually they found someone who was made stronger rather than, the crucible. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Work a little harder. And yeah, really looking forward to more of that subplot. I guess that does pretty much cover... okay, there's at least one more thing. Let me just real quick mentally go over the episode to see if there was more than one. Let's see. It was clever to have the Hosen was established in season 1, and now, we have this other aspect of it that is becoming clearer. That worked well. Right, and Ivo shows that he is indeed as ruthless, I guess he did, as the people he works with. I guess he did not like the Haitian pointing out, Jimmy Jean-Louis, asking which one of the two of you give the orders around here. So he, yeah, and yeah, he straight up shoots, and then he tells, the previous next in command, you are the captain now.